Today I have an update on my 90-day challenge with the Steak and Butter Gang. I'm going to be talking about how much weight I've lost so far. I'm going to be talking about how I'm going with my fasting and feasting. And I'm also going to be talking about a video that I watched just in the last couple of days on Maria Emmerich's channel, where she and Dr Sarah Zaldivar are talking about priming and how bad it is for us, along with the fasting and everything that we do on the Steak and Butter Gang. Hi there, my name is Sue. If you haven't visited my channel before, I've been eating a carnivore diet now for just about 2 years. Okay, so I have just rejoined this Bella's Steak and Butter Gang just almost a month ago, and so I am doing their feasting and fasting protocol, and so today I'm doing an update on how I'm going with that. But before I get into the details about how I'm going, I've got a couple of little things that I wanted to mention. The first is that as in my last video, I said that I was considering starting up a community just as a support place, in particular for those of us who are kind of maybe postmenopausal, having a bit of a different journey on carnivore than what we expected, have gut issues and histamine intolerance, things like that. The sorts of things that I've been through on this journey if you've been watching my videos. And so I was just asking for feedback on whether you would be interested in joining such a community. And so I will pop a link below this video where you can give me some feedback. I have had feedback from a couple of people from my last video. And as I said, I'm going to keep mentioning this for a while to see what sort of response I get. And if I get enough response, then I will create the community. If I don't, then I will put it on the back burner for a while. It is something that I would like to do eventually, but I just need to kind of have enough people to start with to make sure that it's worthwhile doing. So if you want to go to the link below, it's on my website, and just give me your feedback, yay or nay. I'm thinking about $5 a month just to cover costs, and around about that. So you can give me your feedback. There's space there to do that. So if you want to do that, check out that link below. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, which I keep forgetting to talk about, is my spread shop where I have t-shirts with different designs and things that I create. I've just put up a couple of new designs just recently, so I thought I would show you a couple of those. So the first one is, the latest one is 50 Shades of Meat t-shirt. So it's on t-shirts, hoodies, tanks, the usual stuff, caps, drink bottles, I think, and mugs. So if you want to have a look at that. I also have a couple of hashtags. So one of them is Meat Heals, and it's in quite a nice scrolly font, and it's on some nice shirts and hats and all that sort of thing. I also have a Proper Human Diet, hashtag Proper Human Diet. We actually got that one for hubby, and so he likes that t-shirt. It's one of his favorites at the moment. And I have one especially that I did recently for Kiwis, which is carnivorous Kiwi. I might do some different ones along that same line as well for my Kiwi followers and watchers. So if you want to check those out, you can go always below my videos. The spread shop is linked below there. You can just, I think it says click, I think it says shop or store shop, I think, and there's links as well usually to some of the products. So if you have a look below my videos, you'll find those. All right, so let's get on with the update. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I was actually in the Steak and Butter Gang back in 2022, about 2 months after I started on the carnivore diet. I did 60 days of their 90-day challenge, struggled along with it, but really struggled, and ended up quitting because I was just having too much issue with my gut. I just couldn't follow what they were wanting me to do, so I thought I would leave it till later. I didn't expect it to be this much later. So at pretty much 2 years down the track, here I am back again, and quite happy to be so. All right, so I joined at the beginning of May, but then I had some family stuff going on, so I actually put it off for a couple of weeks until that was over. I had my mum's 80th birthday and my 60th birthday combined, and we had kind of a bit of a family function sort of a thing, and my sister was over from Australia, so I waited until my sister had gone back to Australia before I actually got started. So I ended up starting on about the 11th of May, and I'm trying to remember what I've done. I'm just going to open up my calendar here on my phone so I can kind of get a bit of a gauge of the dates. So I started on the 11th, which was a Saturday, so I primed for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which took me through to Sunday was the 13th. So priming, if you don't know what priming is basically eating 3 meals a day and eating until you're comfortably stuffed. So by the end of 3 days, I had seriously had enough food. When I started, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. When you start with their calendar in the Steak and Butter Gang, they recommend that you prime. And I think on the calendar it's about 2 weeks, but some people prime a lot less, a lot shorter, and others go for a lot longer. Some people go for months, just depending. I basically ended up priming for months when I first started on carnivore because I just got really hungry, and that's what happens sometimes, often, really, when people start on carnivore, if they start priming, because you start eating more food, your hunger opens up and you just get really hungry. And that's basically because, like for some of us who have been on vegan and vegetarian diets, I mean, for myself, having been vegetarian for over a decade, being vegan off and on for years, and having all of this IBS diarrhea where my food wasn't digesting for years, my body would have had so many nutrient deficiencies. And once I actually started eating and putting nutrition in, then it just wanted more. And so I kind of went with that. I was aware that I might gain some weight, which I did, but it wasn't too drastic, and I just allowed that to happen. And so this time, starting, I was like, how long do I prime for? So I kind of had it in my head 3 days. I did 3 days because I've been on carnivore for 2 years, and 3 days was plenty. I was really sick of food by the end of 3 days. So I primed for those 3 days, and then on the Tuesday, which would have been the 14th, I did a fast, and I fasted about 36 hours, I think, and then I think I did 3 days of eating 2 meals a day, and then I did another short fast of about 32 hours or so. Did a 2 meals a day, I think, after that, like when I broke my fast, I ate 2 meals. Then I did another, I think I did a 40-hour fast, and then 3 days of eating 2 meals a day again. And then I started my last meal. I did a 48-hour fast, so my last meal was on Thursday about 3 o'clock, and then I fasted from Thursday through to about 4 o'clock yesterday, which was Saturday. So it actually ended up being about 49 hours, and it went really, really well. So with each fast, it just seems to be getting better. And, like, I'm not a stranger to fasting. I'm not a newbie to it. I'm not an expert either, but I'm not a newbie. I was doing intermittent fasting for probably about 18 months prior to carnivore, just when I was eating my ordinary, very highly plant-based diet before. And I was mostly doing, intermittent fasting where I was aiming a lot of the time for 18, 20, 22 hours. Part of the reason I was doing that was because I was hoping to lose some weight, which I did. I was very slowly losing a bit of weight doing that. And also because it suited me, because it meant I didn't have to eat during the day when I was working with clients because my bowel was so bad. It was better for me if I didn't eat. And so I think that was kind of part of my problem with the whole weight thing and everything as well, because, that I've kind of got to the point where I've got this fear of eating, and it's still there. I'm still aware of that. And that's something that I will talk about in another video. But I was basically fasting during the week, and then sometimes I would do maybe a 48-hour fast. I did that a couple of times. I think that was the longest that I did, was 48 hours. But that fasting, I really white knuckled it a lot of the time. It was really difficult, and that's because obviously my body wasn't using fat for energy. It was used to using carbs, and so it was actually pretty tough doing those fasts. Whereas now I'm finding that it is really, really getting really easy and feels amazing. Before I'd hear people talk about how good they felt in ketosis, and I was like, I don't get that. I don't feel any difference, whereas now I do. I kind of can tell when I'm in ketosis because I just feel good. And so what I found with the 48-hour fast was I started on Thursday, and Thursday was fine because it was just dinner that evening. I didn't eat dinner, and fasted through the evening. And then Friday was okay earlier in the day, but in the late afternoon and evening I struggled a bit. And one of the things that I really struggle with, just making sure my microphone's on because I recorded this before and didn't have my mic on, so I'm doing it again. So one of the things that I kind of really struggled with, and I've noticed this in my other fast that I've done in the last week or so, is I get like a coating on my tongue, and I don't like the feel of it. It feels really yuck, and it's not that it hasn't got a bad taste, and my breath's not bad, I don't think, according to hubby. So, but it just feels really yuck, and I want to go and brush my teeth all the time, and I actually drink a lot because I just want to keep putting something in my mouth to kind of get rid of that. And I'm assuming that it's something, maybe a detox or something from my gut that's causing that. But I'm hoping that that goes away with time, with the fasting. And because yesterday, when I woke up in the morning, after I brushed my teeth in the morning, I didn't get that back again. So I'm hoping that that goes away. But yeah, yesterday, so apart from a bit of a struggle with all of that tongue thing on Friday and a little bit of head thing around food and stuff, yesterday was amazing, and I could have kept going. When I broke my fast, I was not hungry. I had a meat patty with 2 fried eggs. So I'd made some meat chips yesterday and had them drying, and there's a little bit of ground beef left over with just some salt and onion powder in it that wouldn't fit on the trays. So I used that and made a meat patty and just cooked that in the air fryer. I had planned to just have eggs, and so I had that, and I was very careful when I ate that, very mindful of chewing and eating slowly, because on the steak and butter again, they were talking about how it's actually really common for people to have bowel issues and have to race off to the toilet after fasting if they eat too much, or if they eat certain types of foods. They were talking about their experiences, some of the more experienced fasters on there. And so I've been pretty good with my fasts. When I did even my 40-hour one, I think I broke it in the morning with just poached eggs, and I was fine. So yesterday, because it had been a little bit longer, it was the 48 hours, I thought, okay, I'll be really, really careful, really mindful, not eat too much. So I had the 2 fried eggs and the risole, and as I said, ate it very slowly, very carefully, made sure I chewed lots, and that was fine. But then once I'd finished that, I'd cooked a whole chicken in the pressure cooker, and with water to make meat broth, as well as the chicken. And so I was pulling the chicken out, and I had a couple of little bits of that, and then, because I was breaking that up, and then I was putting the meat broth into jars to go into the freezer, and the fridge, and there was too much for the jars, so I poured myself and hubby a cup full of this meat broth. But prior to realising that there was going to be too much, I boiled the kettle and made myself a decaf, and so I'd had this coffee ready, and then I had the bone broth, and so I kind of guzzled the bone broth down. As soon as I did that, I felt my belly kind of flipping, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should have done that. And then, because I sat down, and then I had my decaf with cream, and I think that was all too much. And so by about dinner time, about 7 o'clock, I was on the loo 3 times. So, but yeah, not too drastic. It just interrupted dinner because I had to go to the toilet a couple of times during dinner, which was always fun. Dinner sits there and gets cold while you're on the loo. But I know why it happened, and so next time I will just be more mindful. And I guess too, it's just a case of my body getting used to doing these longer fasts. I'm really looking forward to trying 72-hour fast, and I think next week, so I've got 3 days at the moment of eating 2 meals a day, and then I think I have like basically alternate day fasting, so 32 to 42-hour fasts with 2 meals in between. So, like you fast for 1 day and then eat 2 meals and then fast 1 day. So because it's 32 to 42, I'll just vary those depending on my schedule with work and clients and when I actually want to break my fast. And it's going to be interesting to see how that goes, because if you have been following my videos for a while, you might have seen my video where I talked about trying to do 2 36-hour fasts a week or 30-hour fasts a week. It might have been about 6, maybe 9 months ago. Can't remember, probably 6 months ago, I'm thinking. And I tried to just do 2 30-hour fasts a week, and with it, by the end of 2 weeks, I was tired, cold, hangry, just wasn't in a good place, depressed, And so I thought, yeah, no, I can't do this. So my body's come a long way since then, and I'm really happy. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to challenging myself with these fasts and seeing how I go. So my gut health is definitely improved so much. I feel so blessed that it is where it is now. It's still not perfect, and it's still, is reasonably easy to upset. But yeah, it's so much better. So I'll get to my weight after this next bit because it kind of ties in with what I'm going to talk about. The video that I was going to talk about on Maria Emmerich's channel, she was interviewing Dr. Sarah Zaldivar. And they were talking about a few different things, but amongst that, they were talking about priming and the what they see as the problems around that. Now, both of them obviously coach other people, and they get told different stories by the people that they're coaching. And so they were both saying that they've had so many stories about, women who have been priming and they put on all this weight and then they can't lose it, and they're, wish they'd never done it, and it takes them a year to get rid of it, and really begging and having a go at the steak and butter gang and the way that they do things. I watched that and I was just, a bit kind of disappointed, because I think there's something going on with Maria Emmerich after the trip that they had away where they did the documentary on the carnivore diet. She mentioned something in one of her videos about something that had happened there that really upset her. And I think that there was maybe comments about how thin she was. There was something, I can't remember. There was something that she mentioned on the video. And so I feel like some of the things that are going on in her videos now, she's kind of having a go, like trying to get back at somebody or some people from that. That's the way it comes across to me, and I'd imagine it's probably coming across that way to some other people as well. But like some of the things that they were saying in this video, I mean, Sarah's obviously she's got a PhD in movement and nutrition, I think, something like that. And so she's obviously pretty switched on with things. But that Sarah was saying, like she said on the video, that they tell people to eat 3 times what they would normally eat in a day, which is incorrect. They tell people to eat 3 meals a day and to eat until, comfortably stuffed. But that's not necessarily 3 times what they would normally eat in a day. And they also said that that priming and the way that they're doing the feasting fasting wasn't suitable for especially postmenopausal women or older women. And I mean, that's me, I'm 60. And this is absolutely so far working for me. And it's making me feel good, and I'm losing weight finally. And there's a lot of older women in the steak and butter gang who are doing really well also. Now, I get that there are probably people who jump into, especially women, who jump into the steak and butter gang, start priming, gain some weight, freak out, and just stop. And I think that while that is possibly reasonably common, there are more people that actually succeed in there than fail. And part of the problem with that kind of leads to things like that is that people just don't listen. That all the instructions about what you're supposed to be doing are in that group. It can be quite confusing and overwhelming when you first get in there, but there's mountains of help. There's people who will answer your questions. There's all the recordings and playbacks of all the calls, all the Zoom calls, and you can ask questions if you can get onto the Zoom calls live, or you can pop questions in, and then that will be recorded and they answer your questions on the calls. So there's no lack of instruction, no lack of support, no lack of help within that community. And I think that they do a fantastic job, a really, really good job. And the whole priming, feasting, fasting thing really makes sense to me, because it is kind of the way that we would have eaten ancestrally. We didn't have supermarkets and food on tap, a few thousand years ago. We were out there hunting and gathering, and if there was nothing to hunt and nothing to gather, then you just went hungry. And then when you found food, then you ate, and you would have eaten a lot when the food was there. So it's to me, it makes sense that it's ancestrally appropriate. It's something that our bodies know how to do. That's why we can get into ketosis. That's why our bodies will burn fat for energy. over carbohydrates, you know, and but can burn both. And so it just makes sense to me. And while fair enough, some people might not be at a place where they can do that straight away when they go into the steak and butter gang. If they stick with it, eventually they will generally be able to. I mean, it was me. It's taken me 2 years to get to this point where I feel like I can go back and do that. And I think that a lot of people are impatient, especially women wanting to lose weight. They're impatient. I mean, that's been me as well. I'm just like, Christ, how long is this going to take? You know, 2 years in, and I'm now down about 10 kilos or so. And so, you know, but it is just one of those things. And when I went into that and started the priming, I understood from listening to them, listening to their videos, being on their calls, that I was likely to gain weight, and I did. I gained the weight that I had lost in 2 months on keto. I gained that within a fairly short time of priming. But then I didn't gain any more because I kept priming, and I didn't gain any more, and my body shape started to change and my body composition started to change really quite quickly. And so because I listened and paid attention, I knew what to expect, and I think that makes all the difference. And, you know, like on the video with Maria and Sarah, I mean, they were bagging, you know, butter, you know, telling people to eat a stick of butter a day or whatever, and putting butter on your meat and all that sort of thing. Maria kind of strikes me a little bit as being a bit fat phobic. I don't know whether we're really accurate, but I know she's definitely doesn't seem to be she's much more focused on protein than fat, put it that way. But a lot of women do really well with fat, and a lot of women really seem to need it. So on this video, you know, they were kind of bagging the whole butter thing. And then at the end of the video, Maria asked Sarah what she eats in a day. And in amongst all those things that she eats was whipped butter. And whipped butter, maybe being whipped makes a difference, I don't know. But whipped butter on her steaks and whipped butter on her prawns or whatever, you know. So Sarah's eating butter as well and putting it on her meals. And yet earlier in the video, they've been kind of poo-pooing that. And so yeah, I found the video, you know, just interesting and a little bit disappointing. As I said, I think that there's something going on there that's just a little bit of a shame. But yeah. And so I guess my point with talking about Maria's video is that, you know, the saying in the video that priming is a bad thing and that it doesn't work, the feasting fasting thing isn't good, and it doesn't work for, you know, especially older women and older people, when here we are, we've got people like myself and people that are even much older than me in the steak and butter gang who are absolutely rocking it, you know. And so that kind of brings me on to my weight loss results. So doing since I've been doing the fasting, I'm down another kilo. And prior to actually starting the fasting, over the 2 weeks that I was doing the whole family thing, I was down 1.5 kilos. So I think that my body is actually just ready to start dropping some weight, which is awesome. That's what it feels like. And, you know, the 3-day mini prime, my weight went up very slightly, but it didn't take long to come back down again. And so that's 2.5 kilos over the last month that I am down, which is brilliant, because when you consider that I was only down about, I don't know, 6 or 7 kilos over 2 years, that's pretty damn good going. And so 2.5 kilos is, I'll tell you what it is, 5.5 pounds. So that's pretty good for all you Americans out there that don't know what kilos are. So yeah, so I'm pretty damn happy with that, and I'm really, really feeling optimistic and quite excited about how things are going to go going forward. So yeah, so that's my video for today, and if you have got any comments or questions, please pop them down below. If you've watched Maria's video, let me know what you think, because I think I just think it's a shame when people are poo-pooing what other people are doing to try and help people. You know, it's, you know, all these people who are out there here coaching and doing their thing, and they're working with people and they're making a difference in people's lives, whichever way they're doing it, they're all making a difference. And, you know, they have huge amounts of people that they work with in the steak and butter gang that are doing really well. And so, you know, to be knocking what someone's doing is, I don't know, I think it's just a shame. But I I know for myself too, when you're coaching or working with people, you tend to only see the good results, because I know from, in my business, if somebody comes to me and they don't get a result and they don't come back, I don't know any different. And that's what happens within these kind of coaching groups and things as well, is if somebody's not getting what they need, they'll leave and go somewhere else. And so it's the people that stay behind that you see the good results. And so you kind of think that most of your results are great when maybe they're not, or a percentage of them are, unless you're asking for feedback somewhere, you're not ever going to really know the full extent of the people that you've maybe failed. And so I'm quite sure all of these people, Sarah, Maria, and Bella's Steak and Butter Gang, have all failed people for different reasons, because we're all different, and what's going to suit us is different, and the people we want to work with is different. And we all have our different needs, our own little idiosyncrasies, and the things that piss us off, and the things that work for us, and the things that don't work for us, and whether we're going to freak out because we put on a few pounds because we're priming or not. It's yeah. But as long as we're all out there helping other people to have success, that's kind of what matters to me. And I just think it's a shame when people bag other people for helping people. So yeah, so that's me for today. As I said, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe, like and share with anyone that you think might like this video. I thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again another day. Goodbye for now.